What nobody told you about Bichette's departure is that Toronto now faces a dilemma that goes far beyond shortstop. And it all revolves around a decision that could define the 2026 season. Bichette is gone. And he took with him not just the ability to change a game, but also the energy that carried the lineup. Replacing that, it's not just difficult. It's almost impossible. And then a name emerges that nobody can ignore. CJ Abrams, all-star in 2024, consistent numbers in 2025, .257 batting average, 19 home runs, 111 OPS plus. Abrams has that rare combo of speed, power, and defensive control. He offers a ceiling of 20 home runs and 40 stolen bases per season, while also being a slight defensive upgrade over Bichette. And there's more. Abrams is still under contract for 3 full seasons. In other words, stability and immediate production. Now, let's get technical. How do you acquire Abrams? Rumors point to the Washington Nationals, who apparently are open to trading. The package suggested by Christopher Klein is heavy. JoJo Parker, Ricky Tiedemann, and Charles McAdoo. 3 promising young players for Toronto. But the question is the risk worth it? Ricky Tiedemann is a left-handed pitcher at the core of the future rotation. He has the potential to be a key piece of the bullpen, or even establish himself as a starter. So losing Tiedemann is not trivial. JoJo Parker and Charles McAdoo are valuable prospects, but they might be expendable if the immediate goal is to win now. The question is, does Toronto really want to give up part of the future to shorten the path to the World Series? Or is there still patience to wait? Let's pause for a moment, because nobody talks about the ripple effect this has on the infield. So far, Ernie Clement projected second base, Andres Jimenez in the middle, Kazuma Okamoto at third, and David Schneider as a utility piece. What does Abrams do in this scenario? He fills the shortstop role almost instantly, but he changes the entire lineup dynamic. Every position, every play, every tactical adjustment now depends on how Abrams fits. And here's something few mention. CJ Abrams is not just statistics. He brings an aggressive mindset, that game-changing instinct Bichette carried. The difference is he's still ascending. Toronto could be buying not just a player, but also a new team identity, something the Nationals might see as trade currency to kickstart their own rebuild. A moment nobody wants to admit. The cost of this trade could be high for the future. Ricky Tiedemann is a rotation talent who could be the number 2 or 3 young arm in the coming years. Losing Parker and McAdoo means giving up bench options, flexibility for other trades, and organic development of prospects. It's a high-risk bet, but also a high-reward one. Now, think about 2026. Toronto wants to win now. There's no patience for slow rebuilding. Abrams is the type of player who delivers immediate production while providing stability for 3 seasons. He's not perfect, but he fits the philosophy of seize the opportunity before it disappears. Comparing it to historical situations. Remembering when the Blue Jays brought someone in to replace an all-star isn't new, but usually those trades work when the new piece offers more than just numbers. Abrams is consistent, defensively solid, and still young. He could be exactly what Bichette left behind, but with a growth margin Bichette no longer had in Toronto. And the human factor here is interesting. Think about how the locker room reacts. A new player arrives, changes chemistry, imposes style, energy, and expectations. Abrams is an all-star, has pressure experience, and is still hungry to grow. For the fans, he's an immediate hope. Something that makes people buy tickets and stay glued to the lineup. Let's synthesize quickly, straight talk. Toronto gained a high-level shortstop, defensively solid with power and speed, and still under team control for 3 seasons. They lose, however, Three promising young talents who could be the foundation of the future rotation or roster flexibility. The balance favors the present, but in the long term, it depends on how Abrams stays healthy and productive. Reflection moment. Do you think giving up Tiedemann is worth the immediate return? That's where fans split. Some argue we need to win while we have a competitive roster. Others say the future also matters. It's the eternal tension between present and future that defines winning organizations. And there's more. Consider the Nationals' position. They already traded Mackenzie Gore. Now Abrams could be the piece that accelerates the rebuild. For them, this trade frees up contracts, delivers prospects, and opens room to rethink the rotation. In other words, the package makes sense for both sides, but the pressure falls on Toronto, who needs to execute without stumbling. And if Abrams adapts well, if he keeps the pace, produces above expectations, steals bases, hits clutch homers, Toronto could be looking at the World Series with a renewed shortstop, capable of changing games and leading offensively. But if something fails, injury, slow adjustment, pressure, the risks materialize, and the price paid for prospects will hurt more than it seems. That's why the decision isn't just statistical. It's strategic, psychological, financial, and emotional. It's about who Toronto wants to be in 2026. Abrams is not just a replacement. He's a statement. For those following Jays Nation news, imagine the lineup with Abrams, Okamoto, Jimenez, and Clement aligned. The chemistry changes, tactical options multiply, but the margin for error disappears. Every swing counts. Every pitching decision is critical, and that's the real drama. Winning now, but without mortgaging the future. So here's the final provocation. Will Toronto take the risk, give up Tiedemann and the prospects and bring Abrams? Or will they keep the future intact and look for another, perhaps slower alternative to fill the void left by Bichette? If you have an opinion on this, comment below. We want to hear, is Abrams a piece that solves everything, or is the price too high? The decision time is approaching, and the impact will be felt on the field, in the locker room, and by the fans. And in the end, there's only one thing to do. Watch, because the movement of CJ Abrams could very well determine whether Toronto is truly ready to fight for the top or just testing its luck.